Hi, I'm Victoria Belue Schaefer. Thank you so much for joining me for your look at the last week of September. Choose a pile. We're sitting here with the beautiful Chartres Labyrinth, and we have 3 stacks of incredible cards today. I will be reading from the Thoth deck as well as Rune cards, and for a special treat, we have the Leonora Carrington Major Arcana that will wrap up each reading. So, pile 1 is our fantastic warrior priestess goddess here. If this is the energy that you feel right now, then we will be reading that stack first. Second, we have this incredible fossil of a shell that is a perfect spiral representing growth. And then thirdly, but not lastly, we have this incredible obelisk made of quartz that energetically is one of the most powerful pieces I've ever felt. And of course it represents drawing in the energy of the universe. So choose your pile and let's jump in. We will begin with the warrior priestess. I always think of her as my main character in my fantasy series, The Tarot Legacies. So this is Vesta to me. And we will put Vesta right here by the Chartres Labyrinth, getting her to stand up straight and tall. We'll begin with the Rune card to just create the overview for us. And today it is breakthrough. What a perfect way to begin this session, breakthrough. As you can see by the image on this card, it is going through a forest. It is something that is extraordinary happening, that is unexpected, but at the same time is so welcome. This represents energy that you have been putting forth to have something happen that feels long overdue, that feels like you have been struggling for, that feels like this is finally coming, that you are well due to have happen in your life. And of course this can apply to love, it can apply to health, it can apply to finance. What this reading is going to be, if you chose this pile of cards, is breakthrough. That finally something is coming in the last week of September for you that feels like a breakthrough. And this is incredible. Let's take a look at our first Thoth card that comes up. Well, it's confirmed. Ace of Discs. Ace of Discs represents great success. It's not only material success, but it represents spiritual success. This can be a combination of both spirit and material coming together in a perfect combination of something new that is beginning, something that is welcome, that is beginning. And this applies to the breakthrough card 100%. This dovetails with this breakthrough card, Rune card, absolutely. The Ace of Discs is one of the most powerful cards in the Thoth deck because it represents such great success. It represents the beginning of something that is going to bring you, again, tremendous reward, spiritually, physically, materially. So this card tells you that whatever it is that you have been looking to achieve, you're on the doorstep of having this come into fruition for you. So we will put this card here next to our beautiful breakthrough card and take a look at the second Thoth card. Well, it's the Sun. Once again, what an incredible spread we're having here, because the Sun represents, of course, the powerful energy. One of the most powerful energies in the universe is the Sun. With this card, it also represents great success. The Sun energy brings success in whatever it is you're wanting to do. I must say, with these first 3 cards that we have right here, this is speaking to you achieving something major, something that you have been wanting to accomplish, whether it is getting a new job or being promoted in a job or earning more money in that way, or whether it's your health, improving your health, seeing your health take a dynamic leap forward in maybe the way that you're treating your body with diet and exercise. All of this applies, and certainly it applies with love. You have the dual energy here of the sun, which applies directly. It speaks of teamwork. It speaks of being part of a team. Not only does the sun mean that it's shining through you in a way that makes you successful, but it speaks of success through teamwork. So, relationship is very positive right now for you coming up. Teamwork in your job, teamwork in any sort of endeavor that you are involved with, and certainly in any sort of relationship. And this can mean a love relationship, this can mean a relationship with a parent or a child, whatever. This represents a breakthrough, a new beginning in something very dynamic for you. So let's take a look at the 3rd Thoth card. Well, here we go. Prince of Swords, clarity. As you can see with this card, he is cutting through. The prince is cutting through any obstacle that keeps him from seeing clearly what he needs to see. This is clear perception. This represents clear perception. So, not only are you experiencing a breakthrough, but it's a breakthrough that comes with a very dynamic, clear perception of something that perhaps you never had this view of before. Maybe it's something old that you have dealt with, an old problem that kept recurring that you just could not seem to solve. Well, you're going to solve it now, and you're going to bring clarity to it in a way that you never have before. There's something new about what you are bringing to this. And again, it relates to something that is going to be incredibly dynamic for you. Now, Leonora Carrington she was a surrealist painter back in the 1940s and lived a very long life to the age of 94, and painted many incredible surrealist paintings and did sculpture and was just a dynamic artist who lived most of her life in Mexico when she had to flee from World War II in Europe. She created a major arcana deck that is phenomenal and whose energy really resonates with me. So we're going to top off the reading today for this stack with one of her major arcana cards, and let's see what it is. Well, it's Justice. This beautiful Justice card speaks of something that you feel like you have been waiting for that involves the correct decision, justice being served. Justice is being served here, and that's what this card represents and ties in to the rest of the cards that we have here for this first pile of beautiful cards that our warrior priestess Vesta is standing guard over. We have Justice coming in this breakthrough moment that you're going to be experiencing, and it's bringing about tremendous success for you. How exciting for you. And with it comes the dynamic power of the sun that brings with it your relationship with a person or with a team, something that is bringing you dynamic clarity. This is going to be a week for you that is going to stand out as something that you always remember. This is going to be something that allows you to look back and see this as a turning point, as a moment when there indeed was a breakthrough. Now, since I'm also a dream interpreter, I have learned how to integrate tarot with dream symbols. And right now, it's very obvious to me that if this is the pile you chose, that the dreams that you are having probably involve doorways or windows right now. Both of these represent transition. This absolutely can mean that you are dreaming of walking through a doorway or discovering a doorway, being in a house where you just are very comfortable in a room perhaps, or maybe you're uncomfortable, but you walk up to a doorway or to a window and walk through it. And at that point, the dynamic changes and there's something that's wonderful for you on the other side. Pay attention to your dreams. See if you have doorways. See if you have windows in your dreams, because this is tying in significantly with the cards that we have pulled for you. So we're going to put this pile, this beautiful pile, back and secure it while we move on to the next one. We're going to set it by the labyrinth and put our beautiful Vesta on top of that. Now, for stack 2, let's tune in to this beautiful spiral of growth. It means growth permanently, continuously, right? Because this is fossilized. The reason that I chose this was because it is this amazing fossil, for starters, that began life as a shell eons ago, and that my husband and I found on our ranch on Christmas Day a decade or more ago. And this always represents growth, eternal growth, which is something we're always on the path to do. And if you chose this pile, let's take a look. We'll put the shell right here in the center of the Chartres Labyrinth, and let's take a look at the rune card that we've chosen. Well, it's Gateway. Perfect. Gateway, of course, means you are ready to step across a threshold into a new way of living. If you chose this pile, here's what this represents for you. This means that, and it's almost like a ritual, which I am into. Of course, practical metaphysics is the term I coined a long time ago, because I recognized that if you apply ritual in a very practical way in your life, you can create dynamic results. And this is a perfect example of how you can do that. Gateway. The notion here is that before you step through, and I'm speaking literally but also metaphorically, right? So because this is your card right now and represents the energy for you in the last week of September, you step up to the threshold in your heart, in your mind, in your awareness, and perhaps even do this physically. And this is where the ritual comes in. And take note of what is behind you, because you've come a long way. That's what this rune represents. You have traveled far to get to where you are right now. But it's time to go further, and it's time to cross the threshold and step into a new way of living, a new way of being, something that you have earned, something that the timing is right for you. So honor where you have been by that glance back, appreciating it, giving your gratitude toward it, and then step through the gateway and allow yourself to begin the next leg of your journey, right? And this goes so perfectly with the spiral that we have here protecting this wonderful stack of cards. So let's see what else we have. We'll put Gateway right here and take a look at the first Thoth card. Well, it's the Princess of Swords. So we had the Prince of Swords in this first pile. Now we have the Princess of Swords. And she means a lot of the same, has the same qualities as the prince. Swords and tarot always refer to our intellect. And so this is intellect that is striving for clarity. And when you look at this beautiful card, you can see that she has her sword poised, ready to go. She is in this dynamic position with her arm ready to cut through the entanglements that are in front of her, that she knows are impeding her progress of seeing clearly. So this Princess of Swords knows that she has to cut through any sort of obstacles, mental obstacles, physical obstacles, emotional obstacles, to move forward with the progress that she needs to make to step through the gateway, and to do it in a very dynamic way, right? So let's take a look at the second Thoth card. Well, this is important for us to take a look at for sure, because this is the Seven of Swords. In the Thoth deck, they call this futility. And so what this is referring to, given the other two cards that we have already looked at, is that you must turn loose of your limiting thoughts that you have had about something, and allow yourself to not feel like the endeavor, the work that you're doing is futile. Instead, you need to look at this as a process, one that you are going to be able to take charge of, to remove the obstacles that are blocking you from achieving your goal, from achieving taking the step across the threshold into a higher state of living. And this is living not only from a spiritual sense, it certainly means that, but it's also in anything, in any way that you want to apply it. In the place that you live, in the job that you have, in your health, in your emotional situation, your relationships. This applies to anything in which you have the feeling that something that you're wanting, something that means a lot to you, is a futile attempt. With futility comes depression. Negative thoughts just accumulate when these thoughts of futility come into mind, right? And so this is saying you must turn loose of that. You absolutely have to turn loose of that. That's part of what the Princess of Swords is here to do in this spread for you, is to tell you that you have obstacles, mental obstacles that you can absolutely destroy to allow your clear passage through this gateway. This is your time to do it. Energetically, this is your time to do it right now. Let's take a look at the third Thoth card. Oh, absolutely. Here we go. It's the Ace of Wands. And as you can tell by this beautiful fiery torch, I always think of this as the torch of the Olympics, right? Because it reminds me of that, the torch that they hand off at the beginning of the Olympic Games. And very similar interpretation here. And that is because this is the beginning. It represents the beginning of something new. Wands, of course, represent our spiritual energy. This says that the renewal of something within you, in your soul, is ripe for beginning right now. This is very important for you to understand. This says that you can turn loose of the idea of losing something, of something never being gained. Turn loose of that. It's a mental place that you have put yourself and allowed to perpetuate. I call them mind ruts. We get an idea and it keeps repeating in our subconscious mind, which of course is the driver of everything. We think it's our conscious mind. No, it is our subconscious mind. And that's where the mind ruts, the tapes will play over and over about this is never going to work. Those kind of negative thoughts, we've all had them. This is saying it's time for you to turn loose of that. This entire spread is saying it is time to turn loose of this, because you can achieve what it is you're wanting. You can walk through this gateway and appreciate what is behind you and move forward into something new and higher. And this card really proves it. So let's look at the Leonora Carrington Major Arcana card and see what we have. Well, it's the Hermit. The Hermit, of course, represents introspection. This is wisdom. This is your wisdom coming into play here. This is the time for you to rely on your inner guides, on the inner wisdom, the little voice that talks to you. To me, this is saying energetically that this futility card, the Seven of Swords that came up, needs to have your Hermit energy, your inner voice saying, this does not have to be this way. I am creating the negative thoughts. I am creating the idea that I would not accomplish my goals. This is absolutely the key to what you need to understand right now. Tune in. Tune in to what you understand is your inner voice. Of course, meditation is the way to do that. There are many other ways. I know people who go for a run and allow their mind to just clear, or they do something very physical where they're focused on their body, they're focused on their breathing, they're focused on something other than allowing these subconscious mind ruts to just play over and over. And when you can do that and allow that little quiet voice of the Hermit, because here's the Hermit with the little shining, the little light in the darkness, right? Think of this as the futility, the futile thoughts that you're having. And right here in the middle is the one little bright light of truth, of how you can go forward, of the insight that is within your soul that says, yes, you can accomplish this. This is a very important spread. If you chose this spread, you might be dreaming about speaking on the telephone. Phones in our dreams represent communication. And many times people will dream about dialing a phone or trying to dial a phone, but the phone call not going through. And it means that you feel like you are miscommunicating. You're unable to communicate. That's exactly what this dream is. These dream symbols are saying to you. So you may be having dreams with telephones in them. And if you are dreaming of phones and actually making a call go through successfully, then that means you are communicating. It's communicating, your subconscious communicating with your conscious mind. And that's what dreams are all about. Our subconscious, when it's allowed to take center stage, our conscious mind is like the sun, right? It's just this big, brilliant thing that consumes us when we're awake. But when we go to sleep, it's the subconscious comes to take center stage, like the moon, right? And the brightness of the moon shines through the darkness, and our subconscious is talking to us and relating through our dream imagery, the symbols in our dreams, what it wants our conscious mind to know. That's why it's so important to interpret our dreams. I began interpreting dreams 30 years ago because I knew I wanted to understand what the symbols in my dreams meant. I knew they had to mean something. And so I began a study a long time ago of it and began understanding, getting the answers that I need. And then I understood how to integrate that with tarot, because it's all subconscious energy. So if you are having dreams with phone, trying to dial a phone specifically, this is talking, and you are not getting the call to go through. This is specifically referring to this Seven of Swords, to this futility card here. And it is saying you need to tune in. However it is that you can tune in to your subconscious mind through meditation, or again, prayer, or however you tune in to allow that little small voice to come to you. That's what you need to do right now. What an important spread this was. Okay, so we're going to put these beautiful cards back in their lovely pile, and we're going to tune in to the third deck. All right, we'll put it right here. We'll put them right here. Move it over to the beginning of our beautiful Chartres labyrinth right here. I've been there many times and walked this beautiful labyrinth many times. What a joy that is to do. Stack number 3. This incredible obelisk, I wish you could feel it. The energy that comes off of this is truly extraordinary. So let's put it right in the center of the labyrinth. And take a look at the rune card that will be our overview for what this pile of cards is going to be. Opening. This is a very powerful card. As you can see by the flames coming off of this rune symbol, this is passion. This speaks of opening with your heart. This is if you chose this stack, this is speaking to your ability right now, the energy focused in your heart chakra to manifest things, dynamic things, through that emotional well that we have, that beautiful emotional resource that we have within ourselves. That, of course, it's head and heart, right? You know, our head comes up with a lot of great ideas, but if we don't have our heart in it, as the old saying goes, it's probably not going to work, right? When we have the passion of our heart being involved in something, that's when amazing things happen. Miracles happen. Everything comes from the energy that we put forth from that heart area, that beautiful heart chakra. So let's see what else we have. First Thoth card. Oh, well, I think we have a pattern establishing here. This is true. This is why I love the tarot so much. Here we have the Ten of Cups. It's the happiness card. So indeed, we are following the track of the heart. Absolutely, this is the heart right here, showing us that happiness. During this last week of September, you have the opportunity to embrace happiness on a level that maybe you never have, because the Ten of Cups represents this place of satisfaction, of emotional fullness, of just this sheer fulfillment of what you have desired is right here. Is this something that you've created, or is this something that has just fallen in your lap? I don't know. Let's see. Let's see what the rest of the cards are going to say. Well, we have the Fool. So the picture is becoming very clear to me what's going on. Now, I must explain to you that the Fool card is one of my favorite cards in the deck, but it also, most people don't understand what the Fool really means, because the name Fool has a negative connotation, or at least a less than positive connotation, right? Because being a fool sounds negative. It sounds like not following on a correct path, right? But that is really not the case with this card. The Fool being the very first card in the major arcana, is about to take his journey forth, right? And this is because he is a soul who has intentionally incarnated into human form, flesh and blood, to have a human experience. And the Fool understands, she understands that in order to have this human flesh and blood experience, she needs to take risks. That is part of what being human represents. And so here is the Fool, and how it ties into this beautiful spread that we have going here. This incredible spread really is that it is time for you to take a risk. Risk involves courage, because sometimes risks will pay off and sometimes they don't. That's not what's important here. What's important is that you do take a risk. And this can be a risk associated with a relationship, or a relationship that you would like to foster, to begin. It also represents taking a risk with something that could be related to your health, improving your health, doing something that you have been wanting to do, but maybe you were afraid to do, that revolves around a passion project. It can also relate to travel. The Fool represents courage. The Fool represents passion and risk-taking. This is a very dynamic energy that presents itself as an opportunity for you right now. This is very important as we look at the happiness card, the Ten of Cups, and the opening. Let's take a look at the third Thoth card. You know, it's the Two of Cups. It's love. This is an incredible spread. I am really pretty blown away by this. That doesn't happen very often, but yeah, this is clearly a spread dealing with passion and love, and the emotion that you bring to things in your life. This is saying you are standing at a place where right now, whatever it is that passionately you have been desiring is possible, and it almost certainly revolves around something that involves risk. And again, I am not saying take an unnecessary risk. Do not take risks that could possibly harm yourself in a physical, emotional, spiritual way, or harm anyone else in a spiritual, physical, or emotional way. What I'm saying then is that if you have been holding back on pursuing something that is a passion project, this is the time to do it. The last week in September is absolutely the time for you to do this. The opportunity is here. So let's check into what Leonora has to say about this. And I am really quite amazed. This is why I love the tarot like I do, because when it wants to bring forth a message that is incredibly powerful, it does. And look what we have here. It's the Lovers. This cannot be any more clear if I were to write it in Sharpie on a piece of paper and just hold it in front of me. This spread is talking about the opportunity for passion projects, for you to engage in whatever it is that you are passionate about right now. This is speaking of opportunity, success. The time is right. I cannot overemphasize this. The time is right for you to step forward and allow the opening of your heart to a passion that you have been looking to embrace, to move forward with. And it is something that feels risky to you, that you look at as something that you have perhaps hesitated to do because of the risk involved. This is your time to do it. This is the perfect time to do it. I cannot emphasize that enough. This spread is actually, it is phenomenal to me to see these cards all come together from 3 different decks with such a clear, repeated message, and that additional message of risk-taking, that this is the time for you to push forward. Don't be afraid. Push forward. Happiness is right here for you. That fulfillment, that satisfaction, even love, right? And again, this can be love with a person. This can be love for a project. This can be love for something that you have always wanted to do that felt risky to you. This is the time to do it. Think about, you may know instantly what this is. If not, think about it, because the timing is right. And when the timing is right, when these cards come together like this, I know that it is, if you chose this pile of cards as you're reading today, this is saying this is an amazing time for you to do just that. In your dreams, if you are having dreams of intimacy, which we all do, sometimes these are intimate dreams that just take us by surprise, because they would be with people that we really would never in conscious life be intimate with. And we all know who this could be. It could be a teacher, or it could be, someone that we have no feelings of intimacy with, right? But here we are, and we're having a relationship, a physical relationship with them. I speak to people often who are almost embarrassed to tell me, yes, it was my mother-in-law that I was kissing. And, here's what you must understand about these dreams of intimacy. The other person represents an aspect of you. Every person in a dream is an aspect of you. And so if it's your mother-in-law that you're kissing, your mother-in-law represents an aspect of you. And what aspect would that be? Well, in 2 or 3 words right away, just as quickly, just off the top of your head, describe your mother-in-law. She's kind, she's generous, she's fun to be around. I hope your mother-in-law is like that, by the way. Then that's the aspect of you that your subconscious is saying. This is the aspect of you that you're coming into connection with, that you are communicating very effectively with, that you're feeling passionate about, that the lines of communication are very much open, and that you're feeling very close to right now. This is an aspect of you that you need to understand is working in your waking hours. This is something that is motivating you during your conscious life at this point. So if you're having dreams of intimacy, I would not be surprised if you chose this pile, because this is speaking of opening and the connection being made in a very powerful way, and taking a risk. What an amazing spread this is. And it does wrap up what we wanted to accomplish today, which was to take a look at the energy for the last week in September. And I thank you so much for joining me. It is my privilege, it is my absolute honor to read cards for you. And I feel the connection very strongly as I go through each one of these spreads. And I know that if you chose this spread, that it is resonating with you right now. Thank you so much for joining me, and I look forward to you joining me again for the first week in October. That's going to be really exciting. And if you would ever like to have a private reading with me, you can always go to my website, victoriabelue.com. You'll find the spelling of that unusual name on the description below, as well as the time code. You can find the time codes, of course, for each one of these beautiful piles of cards, these gorgeous cards. And thank you very much for joining me.